techniques, the skills, and the power word now. The techniques, the skills, and the power word now. I'll say it again, the techniques and the skills and the power word now. And it is very important that we understand what comes out of our mouths and how we react and how we respond, through speech or through sound, what comes out of our tongue. Life and death is what? In the power of the tongue. Amen. And so we want to be very careful how we begin to speak and what we speak, because it can cause blessings or it can cause curses. The old saying, what was it? They say that sticks and stones, that's the way it is. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, is dead wrong, huh? Words hurt, and people hurt through words, and their actions. And, I have, I've always been a more of an observer and a quiet type of person. I stay in that one zone. You don't never know what I'm thinking. But, even as a young man in a childhood, it's hard to get people, for whatever reason, people don't receive you. And people come into your life, and as soon as you get someone in your life, you're always losing them. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a part of the apostolic, or it's just part of life. It doesn't even have to be that. Just people in general, there are many of you out there that have lost your parents. Some of them you weren't raised with your parents. You were raised in foster homes. Sometimes you open up your door to somebody and, you allow them into your heart. You get close up to them, and then they're going. You got a broken heart. You understand? Some people make you skip a heartbeat or a heart jump, and you see them today, they go in tomorrow. And so there's so many different things that happen through words. And so we have to be careful how we deal with words. Even as I was a young lad, I was a victim of verbal abuse. There were many people on my street, and just different people would think that I was suicidal and all that kind of stuff. And, they would just say things that didn't make sense, and it was this verbal abuse. Call you this, dumb, call you stupid, call you, and you see it even now, even more, there's nothing like seeing that mother or that father snatch that kid and use profanity over them, calling them stupid, calling them dumb. I think one day I was at a meeting with a good friend of mine, which I call like a brother. He's about 10 years older than me. And then he had his friend, which was, his age. And the first thing the guy came out of his mouth was, he said, we know this ain't nothing but a young boy. Well, the reality of it, once you get past a half a century, man, you got to be blind, dumb, and something else in order to call somebody 50 a young boy. It's just, I don't understand how anybody can call anybody 50 young. They got beepers now. People, when you turn 50 and over, they got beepers for medical emergencies. So even science itself is telling you, once you get over that turn, different things start happening to your body. You understand what I'm saying? And so, so when you say something like that, that's why you see a bunch of grown men walking around with sneakers, big white T-shirts or big white T-shirts or big black T-shirts, Timberlands with no shoestrings or shell top Adidas. You understand what I'm talking about? Pants hanging down their backside because they never grew up, because everybody kept telling them how young they were. You understand? But where I come from, a man becomes a man at 13. Once you go through puberty, you better believe. Now, I know over here on the West, this Western civilization, y'all don't believe that. But let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you, the populace, everybody ain't waiting to turn 18 to be grown and 21. You understand what I'm saying? Nah, because there's different body functions and different things that go on. So we have to be careful how we use words. Every word ill spoken to me by my loved ones was like a stone thrown, in my heart. I remember a guy that I called uncle. I remember one time seeing him as a teenager. He said, "Man, you still alive?" And, people just don't understand about their words. You understand what I'm saying? It took me years and years as an adult to heal from the wounds of ill-spoken words caused by what? By loved ones. Yet even though I personally know the damage, I know the damage because it happened to me of ill-spoken words, okay? And what they can do, I am far from perfect in my speech to others. You know, I too have slung words that I wish that I could retrieve. My mother told me a long time ago. I mean, it's about let's say 12 years ago. She told me, she said, you know, son, you just, you know, I owe you an apology. She said something to me. She said, I owe you an apology, but you just don't know how to speak to people. When you talk, it's like you're talking down to people. So I begin to pay attention to my words. I had to reread I started rereading the books of Proverbs and in the Bible, and just recently verses upon verses about the power of our words, you know, just kept jumping out, the power of words. And even as I was riding home today, I'm just talking to you now, even as I was riding home today, just understanding the technique and just begin to demand and speak the words. To jump in the space called God, jump in Jehovah, and begin from that position, begin to speak what I need to happen in the atmosphere. Let there be light, and there was light. I need to speak from that realm. The techniques and the skills of the word, or the techniques, the skills, and the power of the word now. Our words are stones. We are nothing but stones throwers. With each word we speak. It's not oftentimes that you know, there's times in the world where you get slander and words that are thrown at you. But it's nothing like when your brother, your sister, that you know, that you believe and you love, and you go to the house of God, or you eat dinner with, or you spend holidays with, and those words and those thoughts are still going on 30 and 40 years. Hurt, bottled up, stone throwers, trying to shatter something, huh? But thank God for the word, the word of God. It's important. Evil words, destroys one's friends. Wise discernment rescues the godly. Proverbs 11:9. It is a foolish to belittle a neighbor. A person with good sense remains remains silent. Proverbs 11:12. You know, I had to go to a dentist appointment today. And when I went to the dental appointment, the man said something to me. And I just looked at him and I said, on that note, I'm going to leave your premises. You have a great day. He's like, what? You take care of yourself. And I walked right out the door. Why? Because there was no little me belittling him. The best thing to do is remain silent. Some of the greatest wars and battles are won in silence. They're won in silence. Your own soul is nourished when you are kind, but you destroy yourself when you are cruel. We have to go through the position and in the space of understanding our words before we can operate and function them in the techniques, the skills, and the power of the word now. We can't function and operate in the space called God, or jump into Jehovah and speak, decreeing and declaring, and we don't know how to speak the words over simple things, which is the man or the woman in front of you, the little boy, the little girl beside you. How am I going to speak to the wall to come down? And I don't even know how to speak to a mortal. It's much easier to speak to a mortal than it is to a wall. So I have to learn the basic skills in order to function in the purpose skills, which are the techniques, the skills, the power of the word noun, the noun word manifestation of Yehovah. Yes. What a gentle answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up what? Anger. Proverbs 15:1. I don't have to come back at you. You be nasty, I be kind. I know people want to take you out of place and take you out of position, but we don't have time for that. I talked to a gentleman today, and the first thing he did was tell me about something that didn't even make any sense. Before we start talking, first thing I want to tell you is I called your son 3 times and he never called me back. Okay, so what? I think I told him when I first had a little conversation, I said, now listen, he's a young man, he's 30. That doesn't give my son responsible the right not to return a call, but I understand where he is. You said all that to say, oh, it's no problem, I didn't even remember what he needed him for. He said he needed a car loan. He said, but I already got that Lexus and everything worked out. So why are you even talking about it? But did I respond to that? No. And because he was off, there was a vexing in my spirit, but it was not needed for me to come back with a harsh word. Gentle words bring what? Bring life and health. A deceitful tongue crushes what? The spirit. Proverbs 15:4. You can tell when people genuinely love you. I don't care what they say. If what you feel doesn't equate to love, they don't love you. It's just words. And people think because they give shallow words with no substance, it's just like making a cake and not following instructions. You forgot to put the eggs. They called for 3 eggs. You put 1 egg in it. It's something empty. It's inconsistent. It's like making meatballs without ground beef, or if you like mushrooms or breadcrumbs in it, or however it is. Something's missing. I heard you say you love me. I seen your tears, but what I feel doesn't equate to love. I was telling somebody not long ago, I said, every time I see you, I feel as though it's the last time I'm going to see you. Because what they say is different than what you feel or what they show. People have excuses for what they don't want to do. People that make excuses typically are liars. They make excuses for doing what they don't want to do, but whatever they want to do, they do that. They don't make excuses for that. They'll put you on a person that they can make excuses for. They'll come halfway with you, a quarter of a way. They won't give you 100%, but they'll give the other person 200%. And that's just what it is. So we want to be careful, because Yehovah is moving us, the apostolic call and the call for the righteous people, the men and women of God. We are in the space that we will be able to actually function and operate from the techniques, the skills, and the power of the word now that will allow us as men and women of God to take control of things, to actually organize and put things in place, to be able to speak the things and function like we were supposed to. But I will pour you out of blessings that you don't have room enough to receive. I will rebuke the devourers for your name's sake. I will pour out my spirit upon